Today we are reading about the appearance of Lord Brahma. Next date, after 13 and 13 of the Srimad.
No.
Give direction. Now, my basis. Kuya. Onto you. Anshu. In duties. Oh, worshipful one. Within our working capacity. Yeah. Which Kripa doing. Iha in this world. Vishra name. Vishra everywhere. Amutra in the next world. Cha in it should be Gati progress. And say, O worshipful one, please give us your direction to the execution of duty within our working capacity, so that we can follow and pertain in this life and progress in the next. Please repeat. O worshipful one, please give us your direction for the execution of duty within our working capacity, so that we can follow it for faith in this life and progress in the next. Report. Brahma is the direct recipient of Vedic knowledge from the personality of Godhead, and anyone discharging his entrusted duties of recipient succession from Brahma is sure to maintain in this life for salvation in the next. Recipient succession from Brahma is called Brahma Sampradaya, and it descends as follows: Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, Madhava, Muni, Purna Prajna, Padmabha, Nirahari, Madhava, Akshobhya, Jayashrita, Vyasa, Nidhi, Rajya, Jagadana, Purushottam, Brahma, Kirta, Vyasa Kirta, Lakshmipati, Vajrapuri, Vishwarapuri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Damodar, and Sri Rupa Goswami, and others, the other 6 Goswamis, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishnadas Das Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jagannath Das Bhakti, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaura Kishornath Bhakti, Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. This line of succession from Brahma is spiritual, whereas the genealogical succession from Maya is material. But both are on the progressive march toward the same goal of Krishna consciousness. So there you have it, folks, with the simple succession going all the way back to Krishna. We are very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has connected us with specific succession and has laid the teachings of the ability for devotees to become, by following his instructions, they can become pure devotees. We continue the specific succession by acting in their own right as another link to the original. I'm not really qualified to give a class for so many prayer devotees. Reservoir of sinful contaminated activities. I'm blessed by the link of the succession that runs this temple. Here come up and I would say that I would remember about the last person mentioned in this succession. His Divine Grace HG Vishra Bhagavan, Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You know that Srila Prabhupada was just Krishna as the Jagat Guru. Kumbh Mela. Has everybody heard the news that Srila Prabhupada has been recognized by the entire Vaishnava community as well as everybody else at the Kumbh Mela as being the official guru, the Jagat Guru, the spiritual master of the universe. And we are so very, very fortunate to have a service connection to His Divine Grace and all. I was the first time I saw Srila Prabhupada was a poster in Portland, Oregon, in 1974. Srila Prabhupada had come 2 years earlier to Oregon and we had programmed and issued some devotees like every group. The devotees, they advertised Srila Prabhupada's coming to Oregon with posters that they glued to telephone poles. And they used a lot of glue. So these posters are still there 2 years later. You can see them. They were put on so that they wouldn't come off. So I was walking down the street and I looked at one of them and I saw Srila Prabhupada, a picture of him. And I thought, what a powerful person. And then by the influence of George Harrison and the Beatles, I became interested in Krishna consciousness. And so I found a devotee who gave me a little card and invited me to the Hare Krishna Temple in Portland, Oregon, 2805 Southeast Hawthorne Street. I've been raised as a Christian, and I had been to church that morning. I was going to church every Sunday, and there was a pastor that was working with the young people. I was 16 years old at the time, and the pastor said, "What kind of musical instrument do you think that God plays?" So everybody was guessing big things, like big bass drums, grand pianos, maybe a harp, because they played harps in heaven. When it came my turn, I immediately thought, God plays the flute. And then there was two more kids that, so there was three people with the flute. So I followed the instructions on the little card that said, chant Hare Krishna, and your life will be sublime. And Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. I never heard that word before, sublime. I looked it up in the dictionary. It said sublime means that which is in order, that which is peaceful, and that which is happy. So I made it to the temple, and He told me where to put my shoes, and I looked at this stack of shoes, like a bookshelf all the way. I never seen so many shoes outside of a shoe store. And I came up the stairs, and there was a devotee named Bhagavan. And he was painting a life-size picture of Radharani Krishna on the front of the Krishna book. Big picture. He'd been making it for months. We're still working on it. He said, "This is God." So I looked up, and there was Radharani Krishna. And I said, "I always knew that God played blue." So then the program started, Dinabandhu Guru. Yes, Dinabandhu, about how the body changes, but the person stays the same. We look in the mirror where a little person and say, "This is me." Now you look in the mirror right now and you can say, "This is me." And you'll have another body later that will look completely different. Everything, all the cells will change, they will look different. But you'll still say, "This is me." So that was a good explanation of how the body changes, but the person stays the same. My introduction of Bhagavad Gita Vishra Bhagavan. And then we had the arti and the kirtan, and I started chanting and dancing a little bit. And there was a devotee offering arti. He did the peacock fan, and then he fanned the audience. And we put first he fanned the DVDs, then we fanned everybody else. And then he put the peacock man away. I thought, why did he stop? I thought it was nice. It was a lot big. And then we went on to the Shana. I've been a vegetarian for a while. And I never had anything like this. The Prashad was, of course, everything was cooking to eat back in those days. There was no oil in the kitchen. And the preparations just kept on coming out. There was subsies, there was malports, there was sweet rice, there was porridge, there was pakoras, there was chutney, two kinds of chutney, there was different kinds of rice, yellow rice, white rice. After I cooked that Sunday feast, I said, I'm going to eat like this for the rest of my life. Basically, I'd already learned, and then they brought me into the book room, gift shop, and sold me a stack of books. So I mentioned the Prabhupada in his books. I took the books home, opened it up. I got a Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Christian book, Jewish Upanishad, and Perfection of Yoga. So first I opened up the Bhagavad Gita and tried to read it. It said, Dhritarashtra Vacha. And that didn't make any sense. I couldn't see there was no vowels in the word Dhritarashtra. So then I went to the Christian book and it had a preface by George Harrison. That was easy to understand. And then it had these pictures of a little blue boy killing monsters. So that was interesting. Then I tried to listen to this book, Jewish Upanishad, Om Pranamaya, 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 Pranamaya. It had complete whole, God is complete whole. So many units emanate from God, but He still remains complete. So I thought, that's God. 16 years of Christianity, and I never understood God. It's easy to get one page of Srila Prabhupada's books. So then I got permission from my parents. Peter Bandu got permission from my parents if I could move into the temple. So I came and spent the night in the temple and started going to the morning programs every day. And I had to go to high school during the daytime and then come back to the temple at night. So one day, I was sweeping the basement in the temple and I saw a back of Godhead, a stack of back of Godheads, and I looked at some of them. there was an advertisement for the Radha Traveling Sankirtan Party. So that's not Paul Krishna Goswami, Krishna John Swami, and Shri Radha Damodar. And I really wanted to do that. So I sold some things and got a ticket and went to Florida. When I got to Florida, Gainesville, Florida, got to the temple, and Krishna John Swami and his band were spread across the lawn in front of the temple singing his bhajans. And everybody here heard Krishna John Swami bhajans? We all have Prabhupada said he's a guitar. Same very briefly. And then tomorrow, Krishna Goswami invited everyone onto the bus. And I began a life of book distribution from 10 in the morning until 6 or 7 o'clock at night, everything in the summer. So we worked very hard and sent a lot of money to build Mayapur. And the Radha part was quite sad. There was this festival of Krishna John Swami, and there was book distribution, and Jagannath came on board. And he was trying to, he was like a bhakti leader. He was shooting a lot of shots was a stand-up. And one day it was announced that we were going to see Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was coming to Atlanta, Georgia. And we drove all night on the bus, and we got to the temple in the morning, just in time for Mangal Arti. So we cleaned up and Mangal Arti, and Prabhupada went on his morning walk. And right in time for the reading of the Vedas, Srila Prabhupada came back, and I got to see Srila Prabhupada for the first time. When he came into the front door of the Atlanta temple, he wanted to have to come. He lit up the whole place. It was like the sun glow that somehow rolled inside. The sun's not very big from our perspective. And it just seemed like the sun glow had just come to earth and rolled in the front door. Srila Prabhupada was so bright and effulgent. And then as he was going by, the first thing I noticed is how fast he was. Because Srila Prabhupada was close to 80 years old. We all know that when we get old, we get a little slow. That when we get real old, we get real slow. We put moving all together. But Prabhupada had some kind of benediction. He had a musical existence, and he was really moving, and his servants and all the young men and boys, they couldn't keep up with him. So Srila Prabhupada, and then I noticed that he wasn't quite touching the ground. It was an interesting phenomenon. I was watching, it seemed like he was like walking on water. You know, I would say Jesus walked on water. But Prabhupada, wherever he went, he was just not exactly floating, but it was speeding across. He didn't leave footprints in the snow, for instance. You probably don't have a lot of snow here, but Prabhupada, if you ever been in snow, and Prabhupada walked on snow, he didn't leave any footprints. He walked on the grass. Same thing, no footprints. So Srila Prabhupada had, that amazing mystic power. And then he went into the temple room, Srila Prabhupada was there for the reading of the Vedas. The curtains opened and the Govinda prayers began. Srila Prabhupada paid his obeisances. So I paid my obeisances and looked there, and then suddenly Srila Prabhupada's 3 lotus feet were just right there in front of me. Without hesitation, I just grabbed him. He had on these maroon socks, and I held on to Prabhupada's lotus feet until he started getting up. And then Srila Prabhupada, he sat down, gave Srila Bhagavan class. About the verse it was, he told me. The day before, Prabhupada had given a similar class. When he talked about China University and how the Christian consciousness is spreading all over the world, every town and village. This is February 1975. And Srila Prabhupada, he went into Samadhi. He couldn't talk anymore, and tears poured from his eyes. And the devotees that were close to him actually got wet with Srila Prabhupada's tears. And then after the morning program, Tamal Vishnu Goswami introduced each one of us to Srila Prabhupada. So we all lined up. Around the Navatar party was about 25, 30 men at that time. And we lined up and we all had a flower. When it's my turn, I put the flower on Prabhupada's desk, paid my obeisance, got up, and then Prabhupada was looking at me and he told me, "This is Dr. Michael, who joined our party at a young age." So I was 16, which was a few years younger than most of the other devotees. Prabhupada looked up at me and smiled and said, very good. So we sat down, and then Srila Prabhupada, we thanked us for distributing his books. So I put that as a lifelong instruction, and keep on distributing his books. He said that if you could save Ramacharya, would save yourself a lot of trouble. He didn't really say that we had to save Ramacharya. He just said that if you can, you save yourself trouble. And my Guru Maharaj, she went from Ramacharya to Sannyas. And then he said that you have a good leader with the Tamal Vishnu Goswami. You just follow him and how you please. So, we got this memorable moment. Srila Prabhupada, later on, he gave an explanation he gave a special program where he had us all learn the word of the song, Paramakarma. Using the technology of the time, Srila Prabhupada had Paramakarma probably on Xerox, so we all had a copy. And Srila Prabhupada was playing the Ganga. First he had an devotee was trying to play the Ganga, but it was a 1-2 beat. So far we've always done 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But this time it was 1, 2, 1. So the devotee playing the Ganga couldn't get it right. So the Prabhupada said, "I will play the Ganga." So Prabhupada got the Ganga and then he played. It was just amazing watching Prabhupada play the Ganga. And then there was a Sunday feast lecture. And I asked Prabhupada asked if there's any questions, and I asked the direct my devotional service. He said, "Just chant Hare Krishna and everything else will come." It's very simple. That was the lifelong instruction. And then the next day was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's first appearance day. Srila Prabhupada offered our people Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Another amazing sight. And Prabhupada also, many things happened that week. Prabhupada formed the Bhaktivedanta Institute, the Bhaktivedanta Library Party, and enlightened the devotees. So gave it the name Bhaktivedanta. So Jayapataka Swami followed up on that and down there to celebrate the Mahahati Festival of Shantipur. So this is quite a boost to the Navatar party. We went back out and expanded for the next 6 months. The buses went from 3 buses to 5 buses, from 30 men to 140 men. So by July 1975, Prabhu Krishna Goswami was running this like an army of Sankirtan devotees. And he had a map of the country and had these buses going, and there was 20 vans, 5 buses, 140 men, devotees distributing books inside airports, in shopping malls, fairs, and at the same time putting on the festivals at universities. Vishnu Swami were one of the bus leaders. They all could sing the bhajans. One university, I remember Vishnu Swami brought so many people. They were listening to his kirtan, and then there was Rashad, and then the Prabhu Krishna Maharaj would go out and distribute back to Godhead magazines and convince people to come and join us. He'd say, just try it out. You knew that if somebody tried Krishna consciousness, then they would take the Krishna consciousness. So then we got to Chicago, and Srila Prabhupada initiated the whole party. Everybody that wasn't initiated. So one day, Srila Prabhupada initiated 80 commentaries. When it came my turn, he looked down at me and he said, "Your name is Vishra Bhagavan, Krishna Hare Krishna." And he raised. Wonderful. And then he installed 4 sets of Gauri diabetes. The Radha Damodar bus had Radha Damodar. And now Prabhupada put Gauri inside the other 4 buses. And Srila Prabhupada had a press conference, and Srila Prabhupada said many things about Krishna consciousness. The one thing he said that really caught the attention of the reporters was that women have less brain substance than men. And he told about the professor that was Scottish Church professor that said women's brains are 64 ounce or 32 ounce, men's brains are 64 ounce. So, if Mataji's hearing this, she may be thinking, well, I don't, that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm a genius. I have a PhD in psychology. But Prabhupada, he always kept on stressing that intelligence is just a material thing. Somebody may have more or less, but it's not a qualification for going back to Godhead. A year later, Prabhupada, and then the newspaper articles were all just about that subject. So a year later, Srila Prabhupada was in New York because he went out to Radha Damodar party after Chicago. We had a huge Christmas marathon, and then we saw Prabhupada, we went to India with Prabhupada, and then we saw Prabhupada in New York with the Rocky Rock Festival. And Srila Prabhupada was giving lessons and said, in Chicago, it caused a great agitation. And I said that women have less brain substance than men. But actually, this isn't bad. But one should not take it as that intelligence has anything to do with going back to God, and everybody is qualified. And I was thinking about how to understand that. I was just thinking that intelligence is just something that men have any more of because they're endowed with that because they have to give protection to the women. Just like with the man's intelligence, you can see how this he put together one of these lights or functioning, built this building, designed it. And women can also do anything a man can do by following instructions. But women are more powerful than men. Prabhupada also said, after all, it starts off with women beginning with Srimati Radharani. She expands the goddesses of fortune, the dancers of Raja, and the queens of Dwarka. The goddess portion expands as Vishra Devi, Mahamari. She stands as all the women of the world. When women become devotees, they quickly be Maya Devis, they become Devi Dasis, they become Lakshmis, goddesses of worship, right? Becoming the servant of Krishna again, because. And men start off, as mentioned in this verse, Lord Brahma, or first Krishna, and Krishna comes to Lord Narayana, and Lord Narayana comes to Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma is really quite smart. A very intelligent person. He's got 4 heads. He creates the whole universe. And Vishra Devi, or Parvati, she's the power that controls the whole material universe. When I work in Dallas, in Dallas, Texas, I take my car to a place that fixes it. And this auto shop has about 10 men that are really intelligent and they know how to fix cars. And they're all run by one woman, the manager. And the lady who runs the auto shop, she doesn't have to know how to fix cars. She knows how to manage. It's a natural propensity to be a controller of these men that fix the cars. So, Srila Prabhupada went on in New York to say how women are actually very qualified to go back to Godhead. As we see with the deities, Krishna, we saw the last night with the Sham dance. Does Krishna want to have the Rasa dance with a team of rocket scientists? Or would you rather be with gopis? The gopis they're the highest devotees of Krishna. And they wander through the forest and they say, where is Krishna? And they talk to the plants, they talk to the trees. Have you seen Krishna? So the scientists may say, well, that's not very intelligent. Talking to the plants can't reply. So the love that Krishna has for the gopis, the love the gopis have for Krishna, that's the highest love. When Krishna sent the cowboy boys out to get Prashadam, the Brahmins were very intelligent, and they could ascertain the scriptures, but they couldn't figure out that they should get some food for the cowboy boys and Krishna. But the wives they had love for Krishna, and they pleased Krishna by giving food to Krishna's devotees. So, as I said, we were in Chicago and then we went on to trip to India when we had to Malkishmar. Said they were all going to Mayapur and Vrindavan to Purnima. This is March 1976. So we loaded up on an airplane in New York and we took over the whole airplane. It was pretty amazing day. The whole 747 completely filled with devotees, Air India. So even the pilots and the stewardesses were also devotees. They were Gujaratis. So we had a full program on the airplane with RT, EMATs going down the aisles. Kirtan being led by Mr. Swami, the speaker, the public address system. Everybody was dancing, the plane was bouncing. It's astounding. We got to Mayapur. As soon as we got settled at Mayapur, it's Malkishmar, so immediately sent all this Radhananda and out to the main gate of the road distribution. Everybody else was going on party run. And they had, the cameras on, and we were in a holiday mood, but for us, we've been doing road distribution 6 days a week for 2 years. Tirupati then was like 10 degrees now. So then Vishnu Swami disappeared. And then Swami Vishnu Swami got sent to China. And that was a wonderful moment. Prabhupada, a lot of Catholics around our men were devotees like myself that had given up our temples to be on the bus. So the temple president stayed like that. So they all got together and they approached Prabhupada and said, we can't make this anymore as long as Maharaj keeps on tracking all of our brahmacharis. And they don't want to be on anymore. And they just want to travel again. So Prabhupada says, go Swami. So, what are we going to do with you? All the stars said, I don't know, Prabhupada. Maybe I should just go to China. Prabhupada said, yes. And Swami said, no. I just was going. And Prabhupada said, Krishna spoke to you. And he said, no, I can't get my Prabhupada. I have this lot of number party. I'm sending $40,000 a month to build this temple, including this lotus building that we're in right now. I have to keep that going. The Prabhupada said, no, you are going to China, and let us take care of the party. And then Guru Krishna said, well, Prabhupada, I'll go to China. And the Prabhupada said, no, he must go. And then the morning walk began. So Prabhupada went up on the roof of the lotus building, and I followed along. I wasn't really supposed to be on the morning walk, but I put the shutter over my head and kind of squeezed in there. So we got on the roof of the lotus building, and Prabhupada was so happy, and he had this cane and this feedback, and he turned around and he was walking backwards facing the GBC and sannyasis that were on the morning walk. He held his arms out. He said, you'll all be happy to know. Oh, he's going to China. It seemed like Prabhupada was the only person happy about it. Everybody was being banished. But that's all right there. It turned out Maharaj Maharaj he took that as his life mission. And now we have thousands of devotees in China. And I went on another morning walk with Srila Prabhupada. He stopped, he liked to quote about his quotes from the university professors. And then we went to Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada gave class every single day. And morning walks and darshans. So much mercy, so much association. And we got back to New York, and Small Vishnu Maharaj was preparing to go to China. And it was decided that it wasn't the right time, and then he became Prabhupada's personal servant, right-hand man to Prabhupada like his body. And Srila Prabhupada, he gave a darshan that I got to go to. Irma was there, and her father, and she was holding a baby. Irma, she's a school teacher, very senior Vaishnava. And Srila Prabhupada said, told her father, this is real love. She doesn't want anything back. She just really loved the baby. That was expected in return. And her father said, well, I can't really relate to loving God, but I like to serve humanity. And Prabhupada said, if you want to serve humanity, first you have to love God. If you love God, then you can love everybody else. Use the example of a pond. You have a pond of water, you can put rocks in the middle, and they expand evenly. But if there's different interests, then there's conflict. So by loving God, the love expands from Krishna, born out until again he comes to the lotus feet of God. And I like how he said lotus feet of God. He always says lotus feet of Krishna. But in this case, he was talking to a man who was a Christian, and he explained it because the lotus feet of God. And the next day was a Rathayatra festival. Rathayatra, Jagannath, the golden hearts. Our President Donald Trump donated some land. The Rathayatra hearts to be built. Go to the service that he wanted. Sunday when he's talking to the honor rocks that have come up in his favor. So that's the Rathayatra carts were being built, and they used this hydraulic flagpole to bring the dome up and down. But at 10 o'clock at night, the day before the Rathayatra, the flagpole went up and immediately just snapped in half and fell over. Jagannath looked up there, and right before it snapped, he said, "It's going to bust." And as soon as he said the word bust, boom, and the whole thing came down, and we were just speechless. Everybody just stood there for about 2 minutes of dead silence. And then Jagannath said, "Well, let's get to work." And he put together a system, a manual system like they use in Jagannath Puri, where you put pieces of wood on top of one another, and you put in another stick of wood to keep one from falling in it. And somehow the next day, the Rathayatra carts were ready to go. And they came down Fifth Avenue, and Srila Prabhupada was turned up, and he got on Subhadra's cart. And it was a great victory parade. This was 1976. And in 1966, 10 years before that, we've seen pictures of Srila Prabhupada. He's all alone in New York. No temples, no devotees. Now, here's 10 years later, Srila Prabhupada has fulfilled the mission of the spiritual master, the 108 temples. And Prabhupada is coming down Fifth Avenue, the most important city in the world, the most important street in New York. And Srila Prabhupada's got the 3 cars all riding on our buses, and flatbed, and 2,000 devotees. And it was such a great honor that Srila Prabhupada had accomplished everything, and now here was going to Washington Square Park, which happened to be where the first Marinan was. Washington Square Park is pretty famous at the first time that they had the first Marinans, because that's where the picture was taken. The movie that Prabhupada chanting under the tree in Washington Square Park. But actually, the first Marinan outside the temple in New York in 1966 was in Washington Square Park. And now Prabhupada will come back to Washington Square Park after 10 years of success in spreading Krishna consciousness throughout the world. And it was Prabhupada gave a lecture. He didn't really give a lecture in the sense that he just told the story of Lord Jagannath. King Indra and the carver, and how he really wanted the deity, like King Madhava, and he got his man to carve the deity, and the door opened, and then he stopped carving, and then he had Lord Jagannath. So Prabhupada, he didn't talk about how not body or any philosophical courses. The topic of the goal of philosophy, Krishna Lila, and the advent of Lord Jagannath. And then there was a Christian extremist that interrupted Srila Prabhupada, and he had a sign that said, "Turn or burn." And he was waving the Bible, and he started yelling at Prabhupada, "You have to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior." And Prabhupada stopped stopped for a moment. There was this one African devotee that I saw him. He started kind of like a train, you know. Then he started going really fast, and the man was standing on the wall of the fountain of the park. And this devotee, boom, and knocked the man, went flying through the air and landed in the water. Prabhupada just stopped and said, "There's a problem." And Maharaj said, "No problem, Prabhupada." The Prabhupada went out and finished the story. And I read in Maharaj's Transcendental Diary that Srila Prabhupada was really entertained by this incident. He said, "Did you see how that black devotee, how he knocked the man into the water?" Later on, Prabhupada talked about it in his room. And Srila Prabhupada went to Europe, and that was the last time that he was in the United States of America. So we very much appreciate the opportunity to have Srila Prabhupada's association for those 3 years, 74, 75, 76. And Srila Prabhupada, he left his mark in America, and he ended it there in Washington Square Park, his last public appearance. Srila Prabhupada. Sharply at 9 o'clock. It is 0900 hours and 1000 hours. The buses will be leaving and we'll be on our way. I can speak for all of us, this spiritual safari group, that we are extremely pleased and thankful for all of your wonderful hospitality, the association of all the devotees of ISKCON Tirupati. ISKCON Tirupati ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai.